Welcome in to another edition of House of Horns. My name is Victor Corona, aka Victor Producer, and joining me as always is Gilberto Manzano, who does it for Sports Illustrated MMQB. And today we have a special episode for you guys as we do a post game show. Gilbert, Stetson Bennett just threw another interception right before the game ended, so that is four interceptions. I know it's a meaningless preseason game against the Cowboys, but there's already people online already saying, "Hey, the Stetson Bennett pick might not have worked out, fourth round pick." But how are you doing, sir? And it's good to see you. But what is your reaction here to Stetson Bennett throwing
Yeah,
another interception?
I'm definitely doing better than Stetson Bennett right now. And yeah, usually we don't really care for the final score of the preseason, but you would have thought that by now Stetson would have, toned it down on the interceptions. But yeah, he threw his fourth one right now. And it's been an ugly game. And, just watching preseason football the past couple of days, you only care about the first two drives. So yeah, let's get the show started and maybe we'll find some positive notes here for the Rams. But it's 9-6 right now as we record it. But again, nobody cares about the score.
Yeah, and we kind of started a little earlier just because I think for the majority of this game, I think the best part of it was Sean McVay's commentary, Gilbert, and but there was a few, kind of bright spots that we kind of want to get into, Gilbert, and I think for just to get it started here, Gilbert. Jordan Whittington, he was someone that I brought up when we had our last show. And number 88, he's got the long braids. He wasn't hard to not see out there. But he really stood out during training camp. I know you brought him up, and then when I went, I noticed him as well. But my question to you is he now the Puka Nakua of this training camp in terms of, is he the next guy that's going to break out for the Rams? Or is it just the offense, the Sean McVay, that it allows receivers to be able to feel comfortable in an offense like this?
I don't think it's the offense. You still have to have some good skills, high level skills to succeed in Sean McVay's offense. We've seen wide receivers, try and fail. And I won't name names right now.
Oh,
But I guess
yes.
the only thing we could just say that resembles Puka Nakua is the long hair. The long hair is sticking out.
Yes.
But I don't want to go that far for Jordan Whittington, who's having a great preseason, a great training camp. But if it doesn't feel as I guess like as exciting or high level as Puka. Like with Puka, you could just tell he's going to
Right.
be a star. Obviously, not to the extent that we saw last year, where he broke a lot of records, but he does seem like a guy who's going to be able to push for snaps in the regular season, push to be in the rotation, which is going to be hard to do when you have Demarcus Robinson, Puka, and Cooper Cup. But they're pretty thin after that. So to see Jordan Whittington have a great preseason debut like he's doing right now, currently against the Cowboys, that's good to see. And I don't know. Maybe when Matthew Stafford is your quarterback, maybe even look at even better because Stetson Bennett, as we mentioned already, is struggling. But it's
Right.
good that you're getting a gem like that. But maybe let's go back to the year before that, 2022. Lance McCutcheon. We all thought he might be somebody, and he
True.
disappeared. So it's about being consistent, doing it in the regular season, and making the most of your opportunities. But right now, it's not regular season, so we haven't got to that point. But all we see is preseason, training camp, and so far he's answering the call.
Yeah, and you also had the Cooper Cup, injury that kind of allowed Puka to kind of break out. So there's also you need chances in order to be able to break out. But he's a good player that has worked out so far during training camp, and it's good to see, guys. You're gonna see this all over the NFL. This these next couple weeks where you have guys that break out, but as we've heard, the cautionary tale is a Lance McCutcheon where everybody falls in love with the player and they're like, well, why didn't he make the team? And he made the team, but he just wasn't what everybody expected, that he would have an impact during the season, I should say.
Yeah, I guess the best thing you could do is follow the Puka blueprint where he really embraced the dirty work, the blocking aspect of it. Like you find the spot on the field, even if it's special teams. If you're doing the dirty work, you're blocking. And I know we'll get into it, but it's funny seeing Sean McVay not show anything when it comes to the new kickoff rule. There, he keeps kicking it, or Cardi keeps kicking it into the back of the end zone there. But yeah, plays like that. If you're able to block, which is going to be critical in these new kickoff rules, you're able to block in traditional wide receiver sets. That's going to pay off. But Jordan Whittington so far doing his part as a wide receiver. He's not as big as Puka, so I don't know how he's going to be in terms of blocking. But that's all you heard last year. Like, yeah, this guy gets it when it comes to the physical standpoint of the game.
Yeah, and and it's your typical, receiver that really he has all the measurables in terms of what you need for this kind of offense at 11 personnel. So we'll see what happens. It's good to see him break out. But for you, what was something that kind of one of your takeaways from this game? I know it's preseason, Gilbert.
Yeah.
I get it, but there had to have been a couple of players that kind of stood out to you.
I really have three, and one we already talked about in Jordan Whittington, and I think the other one we could save for a discussion after this. But obviously, the rookie kicker Joshua Carty making his field goals, that's a big deal. Hey, but a surprise in Tyler Davis, man, like this guy looks like a mauler out there, getting a couple sacks or tackles for losses, getting in the back of the in the backfield. And I think there was one that occurred when Sean McVay was on the call, and Sean McVay was pumped to see Tyler Davis. I think he's a rookie 6th round pick this year. So a guy who's drafted that late and making plays like that while the coach is watching, while he's on TV and saying that you're blowing up plays there, that's a good thing to do, especially when you're. I'm not trying to compare anybody to Aaron Donald, but especially in a year without Aaron Donald, the more bodies that are contributing at that position in the interior, the more depth that you have, the better you're going to be in the end. But obviously, that's going to be up to Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner to do most of the work there. But if a guy like Tyler Davis emerges as a good rotational piece, hey, that's good. That's better in the end, because we saw what a deep rookie class did last year.
Yeah, and good memory by you, Gilbert. 6th ranked pick out of Clemson. But yeah, I mean, it's impressive to see him. You need those kind of guys. We understand. Nobody's gonna replace Aaron Donald, but you need guys. You need depth along that defensive line. We've already seen Kobe Turner, miss a couple of training camp days, and he's been back. And so and then I was kind of hoping we see Braden Fix in this game, but I get it. They don't, especially with all the injuries that have happened. You kind of want to put your starters in bubble wrap right now. No Jared Verse as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good to see some of these guys who are, looking to fill in whether it's a second team or a third team, which is gonna be really helpful with the season, because we've seen injuries happen with this Rams team. You're hoping that they stay healthy, but we've seen it. It's the NFL. Guys are going to get hurt, and you're going to need some depth. And seeing a guy like Tyler Davis kind of step up, it has been that was a bright spot for them, because I honestly didn't know what to expect. We know what to expect from Bobby Brown. We know he's going to fill in. He's a big guy who's going to fill the lanes there on the defensive tackle, but you need more guys, especially now that you move, someone like Michael Hoyt to defensive end. You need guys to be able to tackle, step up at the defensive tackle position, Gilbert.
Yeah, we were hoping to get a little more storylines if the two first picks in 2024 draft play, like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, like you mentioned, not out there. So when you see a guy like Tyler Davis make the most of his opportunities and make plays that just stand out or in the mind of Sean McVay in the forefront there, that's pretty good for him to do. But and then going back to Stetson Bennett, I guess it's a little rough too when you're playing with the I guess a thin offensive line. I'm
Yes.
not saying Jonah Jackson's going to be out there or Allery Jackson. Or maybe Jonah would have been out there just to kind of get some opportunities with the new team to feel good about it. But obviously they're down 3 starters in the offensive line. You don't have your full array of weapons. So just to make a couple excuses for Stetson Bennett. And I think when you get a couple of interceptions, you start getting into your head and it starts snowballing. And you start forcing throws. You start thinking, I haven't done anything in a year. I went away from football for a year. I got to make the most of my opportunities. I think that pressure started to come in again. But having a guy like Jordan Whittington step up and help, that's big too. But it's a very thin Rams unit out there, and I just saw that Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, decided to, I guess, cancel the scrimmage against the Saints because there's so many injuries on the 49ers where he doesn't have enough bodies to do a scrimmage. So that's kind of affecting the Rams on the field right now. But hey, get through the game and no more injuries.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is getting through this preseason healthy. You got about a month or so before you take on the Lions on Sunday Night Football, and so right now it's all about seeing some of these young guys kind of you know get that shine right now and see who can you can find here for that because I think that's our one of our biggest concern going into the season, Gilbert, is the depth on this Rams team. I mean, we've seen if they get hurt, especially on that offensive line, one of the guys that stood out for me today was the center, Bo Limmer, was another rookie, but he also left the game. He got banged up as well. So I mean, that just shows you there that you're losing bodies here. Hopefully he's okay. Everything works out for him, but it's just tough. That's the way the NFL goes, and it's next man up, and you just want to make sure that you're healthy heading into the regular season.
Yeah, that's why I know when the whole trend picked up. I know I think Sean McVay was one of the first ones to start it with the whole trend of hey, don't play anybody, avoid injuries. Like a lot of coaches don't have that luxury,
Right.
because you need bodies out there. You need people to play. You got to get through 3 preseason games. So injuries do create opportunities for younger guys like a Tyler Davis who were drafted in the 6th round, 7th round, or maybe you're undrafted, or maybe you're a journeyman looking for a place to call home. So those players want to make the most of it. But again, like you don't have the full unit out there. Maybe you've known each other for a couple of weeks. That's why the product is very ugly. That's why I stopped caring after the first
Yes.
quarter or two. Yeah, it's a lot of bad football. The only thing I really care about in the preseason is like rookies, like high profile rookies that haven't done anything. I just want to see something. I know they're playing like vanilla defenses, but you know, going back to the Rams here, they have a lot of injuries. You got to get through the game. That's why you're seeing 12-6 here right now that I'm looking at. Even like a guy like Trey Lance, man, who wants to make the most of his opportunity to finally get opportunities to play somewhere. Maybe not Dallas. It wasn't in San Francisco, just somewhere and put good tape out there. He can't really do it because he's kind of playing with the second, third string players with Dallas. And when you get 12 points and you've been playing the bulk of the game, that's not a good look for Trey Lance.
Yeah, and I understand the frustration with fans. And let's get into the whole Stenson Bennett thing here. Like we might as well, because I think it's a little I'm not here to make excuses for Stenson Bennett, but I do understand where we're at. We're in preseason. You have a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo who you brought in to be the backup. He's suspended for the first 2 games. And so you want to see as much as you can from Stetson Bennett in this game, and you will as well next week and in the third game. They're not going to play Matthew Stafford. They're not going to play Jimmy Garoppolo because they want to make sure that Stetson Bennett is ready for the first 2 games of the season. And so right now you're trying to get everything. These are practice games. These are not real live games. So you want to, if you're going to make the mistakes, you make them in these situations. But I understand the frustration as well from Ram fans in terms of, look, the Rams spent a 4-round pick on a quarterback who was 26 years old. He's not a developmental, you expect him. He's an older guy. You expect him to come in and be ready to go. That's not the case here. But at the same time, you know, just looking at it, Gilbert, being honest with people is like this is what you want. You want to be able these games are for you to practice, for you to be able to make the mistakes here. And I'm not making any excuses for him. We understand what it was. It might not work out, but right now you're just getting him ready for those first 2 games because he's gonna be the backup no matter what. That's who the guy is. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, these are great points by you because if Jimmy G plays in the preseason, he's one injury away from not having him in these two, or I guess when he comes back, and you need him just in case something happens to Stafford. But those first 2 games where Jimmy, that's the crappy part for the Rams is like you want Jimmy to be there for all 16, 17 games or 18 in the future, 17 games. And if he's not there the first 2, you got to rely on Stetson Bennett because he's again one hit away from being on the field. And what we saw right now, he's not ready to be a number 2 quarterback, but that's the only options the Rams have, unless they create more options. Because I don't know, maybe you're Sean McVay, you're watching right there, and you're saying, all right, maybe we should bring in another quarterback. Maybe we should have another, plan plan C, I guess you will call it, in case Bennett is not that guy. Like imagine you're playing the Lions and something happens to Stafford and you got to throw in Stetson Bennett. He's not ready for that. So,
Yeah.
you know, but when you think about it, but it's also like a little dangerous, like because you're thinking it's only 2 games. Stafford should be good for 2 games, right?
Yep.
So you don't think about another option there to bring in more competition. So I want to say McVay's probably thinking, okay, we got 3 games right here in the preseason. It's been terrible this, first game. I want to give him credit for the first series. There was a 4th and 1. He ran a little bootleg or ran a little design run, and he got the first down. I think there was like a bootleg where he threw to Jordan Whittington. Like when he's on the move, I think for him, like when he's moving around, he's not thinking as much. So if you're doing more and showing off your legs, and you're kind of just playing backyard football, he does better with that. I know there's kind of comparisons. Well, I shouldn't compare him because he's not close to that right now. But Baker Mayfield needs to be out on, or even early Jared Goff days. We had to be on the bootlegs, moving around a lot. Like if you do that, he might be okay. But then the mental game, man, when you're making a mistake, it starts piling up for the guy. But if we get to preseason game number 2 against the Chargers next week, and he's doing the same mistakes, same rookie mistakes, and or like inexperienced mistakes, like you mentioned, Victor, you were drafted because of your collegiate experience. You won 2 national titles, and you can't even provide that, and you're still making mistakes. Like you're 20 years old. Then you got to think about cutting the guy and bringing somebody else. But I say that Chargers game has been critical for Stetson Bennett in terms of his tenure with the Rams here. If he's having another stinker like that against backup defenses, you got to think about something else when it comes to those 2 games without Jimmy G.
Yeah, and I thought they did a really good job. And I don't know if it was Sean McVay calling the plays early in the first quarter, and then because I know that McVay likes to hand off his play calling to his offensive coordinator during the preseasons, but in those first couple of drives, I did like the fact that they had him on the move, like you said, because he's a smaller guy. You need him. If you're gonna with a smaller guy, you want to put him in bootlegs. You want to be putting him on the move, so that way he's able to get a better vision in terms of where he needs to put the ball as well. But I like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses for him. At the end of the day, you knew what you signed up for. Like he's an older quarterback, so. But like I said, I'm not gonna panic here, and I'm with you. If it doesn't work out, which is kind of it feels weird saying this, but the 2 backup quarterbacks for the Chargers and the Rams, they're going to be highlighted in this game because there's also a lot of talk about moving on from their backup in Easton Stick there. So I mean this is gonna I
Yeah.
usually don't pay attention to storylines when it comes to preseason, but I think Stetson Bennett versus Easton Stick is going to be something to kind of pay attention because both guys might not even be the backups for game 1 if the trend continues after both fan bases are not happy with their backups as of right now.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like 2 guys were just getting a lot of opportunities for some reason. And Easton Stick, I covered him. He's a nice guy, but it's like you're in year 5 now. You got a couple games to start last year. You didn't really do well. You're not doing well in the preseason. I don't get the Chargers thinking on that front there, and that's a bigger problem because he is your number 2. With
Yep.
Stetson, also he got another opportunity after what like if most players, I think, if you like kind of have like where you just disappear for a couple of days or you're gone for a month, people are like, okay, we'll get out of here. We don't want to see you. So I don't know what that means for the Rams. Maybe they think that highly of him, like, hey, if you needed kind of a mental reset, we're gonna give it to you. We'll bring you back with open arms. Or maybe, hey, you were kind of costly as a 4th-round pick. Let's overlook it. Let's move on. You won 2 national titles with a very good defense. Let's add it right there. And a lot of talent there for Stetson Bennett. But at some point the excuses and opportunities are gonna run out. And when you can't even be trusted to be the emergency plan to the backup because the backup can't play for 2 games. What are we doing here? At some point, you got to have like a guy like I just watched some play earlier, or maybe 2 days ago, Tyson Bagent, where he just came out of nowhere, undrafted rookie.
Yep.
Beat the Raiders and had a couple decent games. Like if you could just do that to be decent for a couple games, you could be trusted to be on the roster. Then do it. But he didn't win national titles. He wasn't drafted. Stetson Bennett did. So from that kind of like hard ass mentality, it's kind of like wake up already, man, and do something on the field.
Yeah, and I totally understand that from coming even like I said, I don't blame Ram fans for feeling this way. I totally understand, but I also just kind of looking at it and kind of stepping back. I understand what Sean McVay is doing, and I'm sure post game he's gonna talk. He's gonna make it sound really good and say, you know what, hey, I put him in those situations. He's gonna put the blame on himself, and then he's gonna say we expect better from Stetson Bennett. But just kind of, as before we leave here, Gilbert, I just want to talk about some other players that kind of did really, I thought really stood out to me because I knew we weren't going to see a lot of guys, but we continue to see Davis Allen, and I've been saying that I'm expecting a big breakout season from Davis Allen. I was happy to see him go out there and play because I didn't know whether or not we were going to see a lot of these guys, but seeing Davis Allen out there was, and his blocking is getting better. Gilbert, that was another thing that I was. Ronnie Rivers as well. That was another guy. There was a blitz that came up the middle in that first possession. He stepped up and covered the block there. So there's a lot of good things to kind of take away from this game. I know, like you usually don't because it's preseason, but that first quarter is really important to kind of see because you see guys that are trying to make the team. As you get, later in the game, it's just like, okay, we're just trying to see who stands out here. But I thought for those two guys, I thought that was a really impressive drive for those two guys.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick play-by-play. Fourth quarter, 17 seconds ago. I think it's fourth and goal. If Bennett gets a touchdown right here to win it, that'll give you some good confidence going into preseason game number 2. But yeah, Davis Allen, he's going to be an emerging player. If he could block, that would definitely help him out. And they threw it in the back of the end zone, or well, I guess my feed's behind because I was third and goal. Sorry, but on my stats here, they're ahead. But anyways, I digress here. But Davis Allen should definitely help out, especially when you got the injury of Tyler Higbee, and you brought in Parkinson. I always get confused with which this
Kobe
Will this
Park.
is with Kobe Parkinson with
Yeah.
the Rams. Will this is with the Chargers
Yep,
because
for
two
Seattle.
Seahawks tight ends
Yep.
that came over to LA, but. You have some depth there, but I am expecting like a breakout year because I thought he was impressive in the Ravens game, that Lions playoff game. This guy's definitely a good pass catcher, but like you mentioned, Victor, if he could get that blocking down and he showed progress today, it could go a long way for him.
Yeah, and then just to kind of just a couple more guys as we talked
Oh,
about. I wanted to
touchdown, by
see.
the way.
There you go. Was did he throw the touchdown?
Yeah, Stetson Bennett on the move. On the move. He
I
got some
just said.
pressure. He threw a nice little a rifle pass to, I can't tell right now, but Sean McVay is happy. So that's
There you
good for
go.
him. We're here crushing
Yeah.
him. And
Yep.
he said, take that, House of Horns. But I want to see who
Yeah.
the guys who caught it. I'll see it right here real quick. Shotgun, sees pressure to his left, running, boom, dart to 82. I don't know on top of my head, but I'm
82.
guessing.
I got the roster right here. That is Miller Forrestal,
Hey, yeah, there you
tight end
go.
out of Alabama, second
Look at
year in the league.
Look
There
at
you go.
that. Two SEC guys connecting
There you
right
go.
there. Let's see. Cardi gets his extra point right here.
We
And he
got
got it.
Gilbert doing play by play for us here as we
Look at
continue on with
that.
House of Horns.
Yeah, 13-6. I think the Rams are going to win it. It's only 4 seconds left. But my
There
feed's
you go.
behind. Maybe they already won.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm starting to see, some of the B writers kind of talk about it as well, and that's what you need, they said that he got an ovation, so there you
Look at
go.
that.
Look at that. So
Sometimes you
Ram
just
fans,
need a game-winning touchdown
yeah,
to
there you go.
feel good about yourself after throwing 4 interceptions. So when people watch the replay of this video, it's gonna be a roller coaster. Like, yeah, let's crap on Stetson Bennett. Like, oh, look at
Yes,
that touchdown.
yes, yes.
So I wonder how
There you go.
people's mood's gonna be after seeing that. Like, hey, let's give the guy a break.
Like I said, I saw from some of the commentary I saw on Twitter, it was not a happy one when it came. Yep, So we'll find out what the reaction is once we post this video later on tonight. But you know what, Gilbert? One of the things that like I said, there's not a lot to take away from preseason games. One other name that I wanted to bring up was Cameron Kitchens. He was one of those
Mhm.
guys from the third round that actually did play in this game, but he's also had good flashes, and we saw it in this game. And it's good to see like the rookie class. As I said, I think it's very important for the Rams to be able to find guys in the draft that they can use right away, because we're worried about that secondary. I'm not gonna lie, especially with the debt. We don't know, how many guys they can afford to lose in the secondary. We already saw Darius Williams go down with the hamstring. They're saying that he will be ready to go for week one. So there's that. But good to see a young guy step up in this game and show flashes.
First of all, that's good news that Darius Williams is going to be ready for week one. You need the depth there and his veteran experience in the secondary. But Cameron Kitchens, yeah, he definitely was somebody that I was intrigued about, just hearing about his skill set, seeing some quick film on him at Miami. He has some length to him. He seems like a ball hawk there. So hey, if he creates opportunities, playing next to Cam Curl, Cameron Kitchens, Cam Curl,
Yeah.
and then Quentin Lake, Rosales, then definitely the more the better, especially in a secondary that we don't know much about in the Shula defense here. And when you got injuries, you got older players, it's good to have a young guy do well. And then he's off to a good start here in the preseason.
Yeah, one of the things I did want to talk about, Gilbert, in terms of you brought him up, Chris Shula, I did see a couple of more blitzes. So that we've been
Yeah.
told from some of the beat reporters that we've talked to that we expect. I've heard different people talk about that they expect more blitzes from Chris Shula, more than we saw from, Raheem Morris. So that is something to kind of keep an eye on. And it's gone final now. It is 12-6 Rams. I mean,
13-12.
13-12. Sorry, 13-12 Rams over Cowboys. So but yeah, Gilbert, I mean, like I said, not a lot of takeaways. We wanted to get on here. We wanted to make sure that people knew we were going to have an episode earlier this week, but you were out traveling, covering some of the camps. You went to the Seahawks camp, you went to the Broncos camp. So we decided, hey, we're going to jump on. This is what we're going to do after every game. We'll jump on. We'll let you guys know when we'll jump on post game, do a post game show, kind of give you guys our takeaways, and then what some of the things that stood out for us during the game. But we'll be on here, post game for the Lions and Rams Sunday Night Football. So just wanted to give you guys a little preview of what you guys can expect. We'll do this again next week, post game against the Chargers. And then that'll be it. We're not doing the third game of the season, of the preseason, I should say, Gilbert.
Yeah, during the regular season, we're going to make sure to wait for the final score. That
Oh
way, we're
yes,
not going through a roller coaster here of Stetson Bennett performances. And I'll give you his final stat line, which you probably know by now:
yes,
24 of 38, 224 yards, one touchdown, four interceptions, and a rating of 48.5. But maybe just focus on the game-winning touchdown for
there you
Stetson
go.
Bennett. But yeah, we're going to have a lot more content during the season. This is our preseason too. We wanted to
Yes,
get a couple reps in here for the opener. Obviously, we cover both LA teams, so we'll have one with Chargers and the Rams. I'm sure the Ramirez brothers will cover the Chargers side on What's Up Boat, so we'll handle the Rams side here on House of Horns. But like I always say, to get people to watch more What's Up Boats, because I know people here root for the Rams. Fantasy football season is arriving, so if you got a
yep,
couple of Chargers on your roster, check out What's Up Boats. And also, as we did last year in our first year trying it out on Thursdays, Victor and myself will have a new show on Thursdays. We'll wait to unveil the name,
yep.
and it's more fantasy football based and it's more betting
Betting.
based, but most just good takeaways too and good conversations about football, the entire NFL. And as always, you get the Lunes lives with me and Fernando. And if all works out with Dan's schedule, we'll get the four compas together on Tuesday. A little snippet, a promo for the 2024 NFL season.
Yeah, and I just want to, I'm sure Steve On will watch this. I finally got a Rams
Yeah.
shirt, Gilbert. I found one on clearance, so here you go. I'm showing some Rams. I got some Rams gear for you, Steve. It's not a jersey, but and then we. By the way, Gilbert, we have an update. We still haven't given away the Puka Nakua jersey, but we'll
Yeah.
talk about it before the start of the season. We still need to give away that
Yeah,
jersey.
nobody wants to claim it, and by now, for the two people that didn't claim it. The expiration date is come and gone, and we'll have fun with it. Maybe we'll wait for a random show where a lot of people are on the live chat and it's doing well. It's on and popping. And I'm like, you know what? Right now, comment and
Yep.
I'll do the giveaway. But we'll wait for the regular season because right now the preseason, I think we're all getting back in the groove here, and we're trying new things here. And people are probably wondering where did these guys even jump on, anyways? Well,
Yep.
after every game,
Yep. It will be on
besides
here
the
if
third
you're.
preseason game.
Yeah, and if you watch the replay of this, leave us a comment. We will, we have a new segment called Ask Gilbert, and we'll get your questions in. He's covering the whole NFL, so he has a lot of information for you guys in terms of the Rams. So just send in your questions, and we'll get them in and ask Gilbert on Wednesdays. But as of now, Gilbert, that I think we
Steve got made it with a comment at the end.
there we go. He's like, give me the jersey so I can give it to
Uh,
Victor.
I guess the
Uh,
shirt's not enough.
the shirt's not enough. Look, Steve, I finally got some gear on here. So there you go, Steve. But it's good to see everybody. It looks like everybody's joining us now. Now that the game has ended. So, but it was a good episode. It's good to get our feet wet again in terms of preseason football. We have a couple more weeks before the regular season begins. So
Look at
we got
that.
Willie. Look at that,
Hey,
Willie. Will pull it out the Victor horns up. So
you know they're real fans where they're watching the entire preseason game, but hey, it turned
yep,
out to be a good ending. Shout out to Steve
the,
and Willie. And Jorge
yep.
too for getting the comments going. I know the
There we
Chargers
go. He
played the day
wanted. He's like, "Are
before.
we?" Trust me. Well, make sure you check out. Make sure you check out Lunes live tomorrow, Jorge, because there is a lot to talk about the Chargers, and so make sure you stay locked in. We have Big Ron Mass here. He says, "What's up, guys?
Big
Ram
Ron.
House."
What's
Yeah,
up,
we
Big
just got
Ron?
through. Make sure you check out the replay of this episode.
Yeah.
And then Joaquin Matson, Rams football is back. A win is a win. A
Yeah.
win is a win. There
We're
you
we're
go.
not we're
So
not gonna lie, fellas. We're thinking this game's gonna be a dud. We recorded early, and then while we're talking and maybe crapping on Stetson Bennett, he gets a game-winning touchdown. But you watch the replay for the full analysis. But thank you
there
for
you
jumping
go.
on.
Yeah, look at Willie Bowen too. Jordan
Hey,
Whittington's phenomenal. We told you guys as we keep an eye on that guy because he's been showing flashes during training camp, and I'm glad he was able to do it on the football field. I hope this is not the last we see of him in training camp. There we go, Michael Armenta.
I
Hey
think
Vic,
next week let's wait for the game
yeah, I
bed.
think we're gonna wait till
What's
the end of the game, Gilbert, before we jump
yeah?
on.
What's
But
up, Michael?
yeah, we wanted to jump on here and let you guys know what we're gonna do every post game. We're gonna be on right after each game, so we kind of jumped the gun just because we didn't think anybody would care about a preseason game. We were wrong, so sorry about that to Willie, to Steve, Big Ron Maz, Joaquin Matson, and Michael Armenta. I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, Gilbert, it was
just
unexpected.
rewind a little bit.
Rewind. We're gonna repost this anyway, so
Yeah,
let us know. Hit the comments on there. Let us know what you think of Stetson Bennett, Jordan Whittington. Like I said, we talked about a bunch of guys. Davis Allen expecting a big breakout season from him. So,
Tyler
uh,
Davis, nice
yeah,
gem.
yeah, Tyler Davis is someone. The defense is looking pretty good. Yeah, there were some good flashes there. But Gilbert, go ahead and close us out. Like I said, leave your comments. Check out the replay, and we'll reply on there.
Yeah, and get one more comment here. Joe Kim Matson. He. Happy Bennett got that final drive. Yes,
There we go.
he told us. But and then what are your thoughts on Bennett, Michael? Again, check out the replay. But let's say this real quick. It was ugly. It was
Yeah,
rough. He got down on himself mentally. I felt like after a
yeah,
couple of interceptions. Good start by the way on the 4th and 1 run there. Getting a couple passes to Jordan Whittington and get him going. But when it got rough, he really got down. So getting that game-winning touchdown at the end, seeing Sean McVay throw up his hands like that and being excited, I think it's a confidence booster. It's just the downside is his obstacle is the mental issues. And
yes.
when you think about the game too much and you can't just move on, that's really an issue for a quarterback. But hey, maybe this will kind of get the pile going in the right way for confidence.
Yeah, and as we talked about, I think part of it is putting him on the move, making sure you put him in bootlegs, making sure that he's able to get outside the pocket so he can have some passing lanes to be able to complete some passes. And like we talked about too, if you guys make sure you check out the replay of this, we talked about how impressed we are with Jordan Whittington as well. And then just a couple more comments here that came in. Tyler Davis was good. He was someone that stood out. He has some tackle for loss. And then Billy Wowen says he's been a fan of the LA Rams since the 60s. So
Hey, shout out
hey,
to you, Willie.
yeah, shout out to you. Thanks for always being on the in the comments. We really appreciate it. But as we said, guys, we're gonna be on here after every regular season game. We're gonna do one more preseason game against the Chargers. And we'll wait this time, Gilbert. We'll wait till the end of the preseason game
Yeah,
against the Chargers before we hop in. But
yeah.
thank you
Watch
to
it be a
everybody.
boring game.
Exactly. And then, we might not see Jordan Whittington or some of the other guys. But one last comment here says Bennett was in his head for sure, and the O-line penalties didn't
Yeah,
help at all. Let's see where he takes it from here. That's from Joaquin Matson. So
yeah.
there you go, Gilbert.
They're going to need him for those first two games with Jimmy G suspended. Hopefully, it's a start of a confidence builder, but we'll find out next week against the Chargers. LA showdown right there. We'll be on and talk about it on House of Horns, like Victor mentioned. But it's time to get going. Time to get
Yes.
ready for week 2 of the preseason. I got to head out too as well. But on that note, cheers to you, Joakim. Thank you for watching the stream. But on that note, ya nos vamos. Pues, vámonos.